This is to help you understand the parts and pieces of the upper locking lever assembly. I want you to memorize these so that I can ask you without having the labels on them, so you know what they are. The first thing is a strike hammer, of course, and that goes up and down and hits the bell or hits the gong. Strike hammer. And of course it has to rotate on something, so this is the strike hammer arbor. Strike hammer arbor, hammer tail. This is the tail that goes up and has this little locking cam come around and make him work like he's supposed to work. As this locking cam goes around, here's the hammer lift pin. See? Sometimes there are two, sometimes there's only one. Hammer lift pin. This locking cam goes around like this and grabs this guy and pulls him out and then drops him. And if that happens, it makes the strike hammer hit the gong. So again, this guy goes out like this and then comes back and hits the gong. Now, let's go to the upper locking lever assembly and see that we have 3 levers that we have to learn. The first one is a count lever, and it's the longest one. Look how long it goes, and it goes right into the count wheel. And this goes up and down to make the count work. So we'll go back up over here and see that that's the count lever, and it goes to the count wheel. Count lever, count wheel. Count wheel, count lever attached to the upper locking lever assembly. The next lever is the locking lever. When this wheel goes around, it's going to make everything work. But this little locking lever holds it in place on the warning pin. It holds it there until it's time for it to let go. So we have a locking lever that attaches to the upper locking lever assembly. The locking lever goes to the warning pin. It holds on. It won't let go. Got it? So we have upper locking lever assembly. Now we've learned 2 levers, the locking lever and the count lever. Now this lever here, the third lever, is called the drop lever because it drops into this notch. And it has 2 notches here. So it drops into this notch or a notch as this goes around. When all of this stuff is lifted up, this guy can lift up beyond the notch and the wheel goes around. And this warning pin moves up, the warning pin goes around, and everything works. Drop lever. We call it a drop lever because when the time comes, it'll drop back into place. Drop lever to the upper locking lever assembly, to the count lever, to the locking lever, to the warning pin. If you get these 3 levers correct, then the clock is usually going to work pretty well for you as far as striking goes. The hammer tail will be hit by the hammer lift pins as it goes around and rotates on the strike hammer arbor and strikes. The hammer strikes. So now you've learned strike hammer, you've learned strike hammer arbor, the hammer tail, a hammer lift pin, a locking cam, the drop lever, the locking lever, the warning pin, and the count lever, which comes right into this count wheel. Now, memorize those.